endocrine system. So basically this class, we are going to concentrate on the histology of the endocrine system. So I'm going to take you the part of the histology of the endocrine system, and I'm also going to take you the histology of the reproductive system and the urinary system. So this time, for these 3 weeks, we're going to cover 3 systems: that endocrine, reproductive system, histology, and lastly, we're going to cover the urinary system. So then Dr. Juma will take you through the gross now anatomy of the 3 systems. So we'll have 2 classes concurrent. Dr. Juma will be taking you through gross, and I'll be taking you through histology. Then lastly, we'll also have to attend practical classes. Have to go and attend practical classes. By note, we are not going to dissect. We're just going to identify the organs in the laboratory. And also we are going to do the histology slides, going to see the slides through the microscope. So that's what you're going to do that period of 4 weeks. That's actually what you're going to cover. So endocrine system, now, the endocrine system actually it consists some of the organs of the endocrine system. It is good to list these organs of the endocrine system. So the first endocrine system we have, it is pituitary. You can write them down. It is the pituitary gland. Then the second endocrine system, we have the thyroid gland. Then the third endocrine system, we have what you call the hypothalamus. Then we have the pineal gland, the pineal gland. Then we have the thyroid and parathyroid gland. We have the adrenal gland. We have the pancreatic islets. Then we have the ovaries and the testes. Then lastly, we have placenta during pregnancy. So those are some of the endocrine organs, that glands that we have in our body. Let me repeat them so that you can get them clearly. The first one, we have talked about the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland. The second one, it is hypothalamus. Hypothalamus. The third one is a pineal gland. Pineal gland. Then we have the thyroid gland. We have the parathyroid gland. We have the adrenal gland. Adrenal gland. We have the pancreatic islets. We have the ovaries, the testes. This is the reproductive now. Then lastly, we have the placenta during pregnancy. So those are some of the endocrine organs that we have in our body. So we are going to discuss these endocrine organs. Now, today, we're not going to discuss all these organs in one session. It will be, there are a lot of them. So today we are going to focus majorly on pituitary, thyroid, and pineal gland. So we're going to focus on those 3. We're going to focus on pituitary gland. We're going to focus on the thyroid gland. Then we're also going to focus on the pineal gland. So those are the 3 glands that we're going to focus today. Now, general histological characteristic of most endocrine glands. General characteristic, histological characteristics of most endocrine glands are, they are ductless. No, they don't have duct. They are ductless. So, for example, some of these organs, they are having ducts that actually now release the hormones to the body. But the endocrine organs, They don't have duct. They are ductless. Number two, they are called, they have rich blood supply. They are rich in blood supply. They are actually rich in blood supply. Then they allow hormones to rapidly enter the bloodstream. They allow hormones to rapidly enter the bloodstream. So those are some of the general characteristics of these endocrine organs. Now, the endocrine organs actually regulate metabolic activities via hormones in certain organs and in tissue, which actually now bring in something that we call homeostasis. What is homeostasis? Class, what is homeostasis? What is homeostasis? Anyone who can answer what is homeostasis?
I can try.
Yes, yes, try.
It's the maintenance of constant internal environment despite the fluctuations in the external environment.
Pardon?
It's the maintenance of a constant internal environment despite the fluctuations of the external environment.
Yeah, that's a perfect explanation of what is homeostasis. It's actually regulation of self process by which living organisms maintain internal stability and balance within the body. That's what we call the homeostasis. Now, the nervous system regulates certain organs. Okay, remember before we leave, before we continue these classes, be very attentive. I'm not going to send the notes for you to go and read. I'll only send the textbook so that you can go and read the textbook. I will not send you the slides. Is that okay? Is that okay? Okay, Charles Chola. Okay, so kindly make sure you go and take the textbooks and read them. I'm not going to send these notes. Now, let us continue. Now, you can see the nervous system actually regulates certain organs, tissue, via impulse that actually now initiate the release of neurotransmitter substances. But now, yeah, the endocrine system, what actually happened, they produce these hormones, which are very slow and diffuse. And remember, they are ductless. So those are the two differences between this, what you call the nervous, where it now produces the impulse to release the neurotransmitter, actually what is rapid in the tissue and affected. But the endocrine system, they produce slow and diffuse effect to the body. Now, general concept, unlike exocrine or gland, which release their product into the epithelial surface from which the glands were performed, endocrine glands lose contact with their epithelial origin and release their product called hormones into extracellular space around the endocrine cells, which you have said they are ductless. Then from here, hormones can affect adjacent cells, what you actually call pancreatic secretion. Then they diffuse into the capillaries to be transported into the bloodstream. Now, what you call now the endocrine secretion. Now, the hormones, they're being transported through the capillary now to the bloodstream. Now, this hormone act only on selected cells, what we actually call the target cells. They don't act on all cells, but they only act on the target cells which are in the body. Then, which are expressed basically receptors to mediate hormone signals. So that's how these ones are being released. And now, apart from that, these hormones, Are you able to hear me? Okay. So I've said these hormones, they actually have selected cells that they act on, what we actually call target cells, which are express physical receptor to mediate the hormone signal. Now, the endocrine system consists of, we have already talked about this. We have the pituitary, the thyroid, we have the parathyroid, we have the adrenal gland, we have the pineal gland, we also have we also have the ovaries and the testes. These are some cells within the ovaries and the testes. We also talked about the placenta during pregnancy. It is one of the endocrine or glands. Now, kinds of cells, what actually called pancreatic islets of Langerhans, we have Thecus interna in the ovary, we have talked about it, and interstitial cells, the testes. So those are some of the also glands that we're going to look at. Pancreatic islets of Langerhans, we have Theca interna in the ovaries, and we also have intestinal cells in the testes. So these are some of the glands that we're going to discuss also. Then also we have the individual cells, what actually called enteroendocrine cells in the digestive tract that belongs to the fused neuroendocrine system. So these are some of the organs or some of the glands that we're going to look at. Any question about these organs or these glands?
So I have a question.
Yes, yes.
What's the difference between this thyroid and parathyroid? Because they seem distinguished by just the suffix. Thyroid and parathyroid.
Pardon?
The difference, the distinction of the thyroid and parathyroid, since they are just distinguished by the word para, which is the suffix of parathyroid.
Okay, that's a good question. Any trial from classmates? Any any trial from classmates? Your classmates? Okay. Now, parathyroid and thyroid glands, these are actually different, completely different endocrine glands. They are different. Now, you can see the thyroid, it's actually control now metabolism in your body. The thyroid, it controls the metabolism in your body. Now, the parathyroid, this gland, now it now controls the calcium levels in your body. Is that okay, Masika?
Yes, I've got you, sir.
They are actually very different. The thyroid one, it controls the metabolism in your body. And the parathyroid, it actually now controls the calcium levels in your body. Now, location and size, you can also describe it in location and size. Now, the thyroid, it's actually large, it is a butterfly in shape. Uh, then you are able to see it in the front of your neck, over the windpipe, what we call the trachea. Then the parathyroid, these are actually four tiny pear-sized glands which actually sit direct on the back of thyroid gland. You can now see this parathyroid gland, they actually sit direct behind or the posterior of the thyroid gland. So then they also produce different hormones. For example, the thyroid one produces what we call the T3 and the T4, which actually now control the energy, weight, and the body temperature. Then the parathyroid one, it's actually now balance calcium in your body, which actually makes your bones to be strong. Is that okay?
Yes, okay.
So those are some of these are two different organs, glands in your body. Okay, that was a good question. Let us proceed. Now, the endocrine organs are highly vascular. We have talked about this, and most fenestrated capillaries, which facilitate the entry of hormone into the bloodstream. The cells are usually arranged in plates or cords to maximize surface contact with the blood vessels. So that's when they're able now to produce the hormones. They can be absorbed by by the body through the blood vessels. Now, let's start by looking at the pituitary glands. Pituitary gland, what you call the hypophysis. Now, the pituitary gland actually it now produces hormones which are responsible for regulating growth, so that you cannot be too short and you cannot be too tall. It regulates your growth. Then it regulates your reproduction and also metabolism. So these are some of the functions of these hormones being actually produced by the pituitary gland. Now, it is divided into subdivision which develop in different embryological sources. For example, we have the adenohypophysis, which actually now develop from a vagination of oral ectoderm, what you call the rectus pouch, which line with primitive oral cavity, what you call the osteoderm. So that's where it originates from, what we call the oral ectoderm. You're able to see this is now what we've been talking about. Here is adenohypophysis, anterior lobe, where it has cells what we call the pars tubercles, the pars distalis, and the pars intermedius. So this is where you're able to see where we have the adenohypophysis. Now, these are the cells. How these cells look like. Secrete other pituitary hormones. This is how it looks like. You're able to see this, the pars distalis, how it looks like, the pars intermedius, how it looks like, and lastly, the neurohypophysis posterior lobe. This is how it looks like. Now, secondly, we have neurohypophysis, which actually develop from neuroectoderm as a downgrowth of the encephalon. So this is actually neurohypophysis. It actually now originate of the embryological development. It is from neuroectoderm as a downgrowth of the encephalon. Then the pituitary gland lies below the hypothalamus of the brain, to which is connected to extending the inferior from the encephalon and the sella tunica. For those who are doing dental, do you remember when you during exam, have you done head and neck? Those who are doing dental, have you done head and neck? Do you remember the sella tunica?
Yes.
Where is it located at?
At the base of middle fossa, I think so.
Yes, at the base of the skull, middle sternal fossa. So remember that's very, very important. So that's actually where it is being located. Now, we have subdivision of this now what you call the adenohypophysis, the cells that you're able to see within it. Now, the adenohypophysis, this is the anterior pituitary, and what you call the neurohypophysis, this is the now the posterior pituitary. Now, let us start with adenohypophysis. It has three cells, what you call the pars distalis, where what actually call the pars anterior. Then you have the pars intermedia. Then we have the pars tuberalis. Then we also have the neurohypophysis, posterior pituitary, where we have the medium eminence, we have the infundibulum, and the pars nervosa. So these are some of the cells you are able to see within the adenohypophysis and the neurohypophysis. Now, this lady called, is not a lady, James Oduor. James, can you unmute yourself?
Yes.
Can you tell us what I've talked about the pituitary, the division?
So concerning the division of the pituitary glands, you've said that it develops from two embryological sources, the adenohypophysis and neurohypophysis. And the adenohypophysis, it is subdivided into three parts: the pars distalis, pars intermedia, and pars tuberalis. While the neurohypophysis is subdivided into three parts: the media eminence, the infundibulum, and the pars neurosa.
Okay, if you are attentive. Now, we have the blood supply. Now, the apophyseal portal system of the vein derived from neurosecretion hormones, which actually from the primary capillaries, what you call the capillary plexus of the medium eminence, to the secondary capillary plexus of the pars distalis. Then you're able to see this diagram. These are now the capillary beds you're able to see here. Then you have the infundibulum, which is here. Able to see it. Then you're able to see the medium eminence. Are you able to see the median eminence here? Are you able to see it, class?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, that is the medium eminence. Now, when you come here, now the pituitary, we're able now to see clearly what you're talking about, what you're talking adenohypophysis of the pituitary gland, which is here. I think you're able to see it clearly. Then, the secondly, we are also able to see the neurohypophysis of the pituitary gland, which is here. Is that well noted, class? Are you able to see the differences between adenohypophysis and the differences between neurohypophysis here of the pituitary gland?
Yes.
Okay. Now, we want now to discuss these cells in details. We're going to start by the pars distalis. Now, the pars distalis is a paracameral cell of the pars distalis, which actually consists chromomorphils and chromomorphisms. Then the chromomorphils, these have high affinity to dyes, where those the paracameral cells they have no affinity for. Dyes are called chromophilies. Now, the chromophilies are further subdivided into acidophilies and basophilies. Now, when you talk about the acidophilies, it's now staining with acid dyes. And when you're talking about the basophilies, we have the basic dyes, which actually constitute the main secretion of the cell pars. So this is all about the pars distalis, why it has different cells. Where we have the chromophilus cell and the chromophobis cells. Now we have said the chromophilus cells, they have high affinity to dyes, whereby they're further divided into acidophilus and basophilus. Then you have the pars intermedius, the pars intermedia. The pars intermedia, this is now lies between the pars distalis and the pars nervosa and contains cysts that are remnant of Rach's pores. Then lastly, we have the pars tubertalis, which is characterized by many cuboidal and cell-lined, whereby you have the colloidal containing cyst and Rach cyst, which actually remain remnant during ectoderm of the vaginating rhesus porch. So that's all about what this division of the pars distalis, the pars intermedialis, and the pars tuberalis. From this diagram, we are now able to appreciate them. Are you able to see where we have the pars tuberalis here? Are you able to see it? Class, are you able to see the pars tuberalis?
Yes.
Are you able to see the pars intermedia?
Yes.
And lastly, the pars distalis.
Yes.
So those are the three cells you are able to appreciate the cells. Trevor Baraka. Trevor Barak. Trevor Barak, can you unmute yourself kindly? It means Trevor is not attentive in this class. He has just joined, but is not here with us. Charles Minor. Charles Minor. Charles Minor. Hello, Charles Minor. Seems they are just attending this class online, but they are not attentive. We have Duncan Otieno. Kindly unmute yourself. Duncan Otieno, the one who is doing dental, BDS. Duncan Otieno, can you admit yourself? Duncan is saying he's having some technical issue. Kindly make sure you attend class. You talk when you say you're supposed to talk in this class. This class is not only for attendance. You also have to understand and follow up on what you're doing. Clifford Ochieng. Clifford Ochieng.
Present.
Yes, can you tell us about the cells that you have talked about? The past intermediates.
So we have the anterior and the posterior pituitary glands, and in the anterior we have the pars distalis, the pars intermedius, and pars tuberalis, and in the posterior, which is the neurohypophysis, we have the pars nerviosa.
Can you talk about in detail about the pars intermedia, pars distalis, and the pars tuberalis?
The pars intermedius is the one between the pars distalis and the pars nerviosa, and it contains remains of the cysts. The cells are remains of cysts of Rathke's cysts. The pars tuberalis, it has cuboidal cells, and they are also lined by cyst of the Rathke's cyst, which are remnants of the ectoderm of Rathke's pouch. Then which one? I think that's all I have.
Okay, that's a good trial. Now let's look at infundibulum, what you call the apophyseal stalk. These are actually extension from now what you call the hypothalamus and continuous birth pars nervosa. Then it contains the hypophyseal tract, which actually contain axons from neuron. These are now the axons of the neuron, the nerves, which whose cells bodies are located in supraoptic and paraventricular nuclei of the hypothalamus. Then now the pars nervosa, which actually now contain the axons and the axon terminal of the neuron forming the hypothalamic tract. They have something that we call the hearing bodies. These hearing bodies, these are the expanded axons. They are now the expanded axon terminals, which now accumulate secretory granules, then containing the oxytocin or antidiuretic hormone, what we actually now call the vasopression of these hearing bodies. Now, when they expand, the terminal which accumulate the secretory granule, which now contain the oxytocin, the now vasopression happens within it. Now, also contain the astrocytes-like. These are cells called the pituicytes, with no secretion cells are present. So here we don't have the secretion cells, they're not present. Now, unlike other glands, it stores large amount of hormones in an active form with extracellular component in the center of the follicles. Now, that's all about the pituitary and hypothalamus. Now, let us now focus on the thyroid gland. Thyroid gland. Now, the thyroid gland is a butterfly-shaped endocrine gland lying in the neck, in the front of the neck, upper part of the trachea, that actually now produce hormones. They produce two hormones, which are called T3 and T4. Now, the T3, it is called triohydrothionein. Then the T4, it is called the thyroxine hormone. So these are the hormones that actually being produced by the thyroid glands. Now, we also have the peptide hormones, which are now calcitonin, which now regulate the calcium leveling in the body. So you're able to see this is the now what you call the thyroid gland. It is here. You're able to see it. This is what you call the thyroid gland. It is here. You're able to see it. It has two lobes, the left lobe and the right lobe. Now this is more of the gross anatomy. Then what connects the right lobe and the left lobe? We have something that we call the isthmus of thyroid gland. Is the one that actually now connects to these two lobes. Now, the functional unit of the thyroid glands are called the thyroid follicles. Now, actually now the functional unit of this thyroid gland. It is pharoidal structure composed of single layer of cuboidal epithelium cells. The thyroid gland is enveloped by fibrous capsule from which the fine collagenous septa extend into the gland, dividing it into the lobules. So we have said it has two lobules, the left and the right. Then the septa conveys rich blood supply together with the lymphatic and nerve supply. So now, this is now the histological view of these thyroid follicles. So now these are thyroid follicles. We're able to see it. It is here. Here, we're able to see the cuboidal epithelium of the follicles, which are here. Then you are able to see the C thyrocyte cells, which are here. Then this is how it looks like. Are you able to see this diagram?
Yes.
Hello, are you able to see this diagram? So this is how the thyroid follicles look like. Now, keep Kemboy Rotich. Can you unmute yourself? Keep Kemoy Rotich Nursing. Registration number 2222. Can you unmute yourself? Yes. Can you tell us what you're able to see in this diagram? Keep Kemoy. What are you able to see here? Can you tell us?
On the left side, we have the thyroid gland, which it's written we have thyroid follicles. And then on the right side, the thyroid follicles are enlarged or magnified. So on the thyroid follicles, on the periphery, we have cuboidal epithelium of follicle. And then in between 3 follicles on the upper side, we have C thyrocyte cell, and then the middle area is the thyroglobulin stored in colloid of follicle. Yes, that is what I can say.
Okay, good. Good. Now let's continue. Now, the thyroid follicles are stored in what you call the thyroglobulin, which is now the iodinated protein, which is now the storage of what you call the T4 and the T3. So it actually produces these two hormones, what you call the T3 and the T4. Then the follicles are lined by epithelial cells, which are initially responsible for synthesis of thyroglobulin and for the conversion of iodine to iodine. Now, here we are also able to appreciate the T thyrocyte cells. We have the capillary, which is here. Here we have the capsule now that covers it, the follicle cavity. These are now the follicle cavities. Then we have the C thyrocyte cells. They are here. From this diagram, it's just the same one there, what you have seen on the last diagram that actually Kemoy have explained to us. We have the C thyrocyte cells, which are here, the cuboidal epithelium follicles, which are here. Then lastly, we're able to see the thyroglobulin stored in the colloid of the follicles, which are here. So this is all about the thyroid follicles, how it looks like. Parafollicular cells, which you call the C cells and the clear cells, occur within the follicle epithelium and in small clusters between the follicles. And they actually possess secretory granules containing the hormones, what you call the calcitonin, which actually these hormones control the calcium levels in your body, which act as inhibit bond reabsorption, lowering calcium levels. Now, what is the function of calcium level in your body? What's the function of calcium in your body? What's the function of calcium? Anybody?
Muscle contraction.
Yes?
Muscle contraction.
Muscle contraction. Another.
Blood clotting.
Yes? Yes, continue.
Bone development.
Yes?
Bone and teeth development.
Teeth formation.
or you are not explaining very well, but it actually builds hard structure in the bones and teeth. Is that okay? It's actually what makes your bone and teeth to be strong. So that's why you cannot have fractures of your bones anyhow. They're very strong because of this calcium deposit. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yes. Now, another function, it also acts on the muscles and the heart function. This is by trigger muscles tightening and relaxing and keep normal heartbeats. Then it's also control blood flow by relaxing vessels walls. Then it can also act in the nerves and cells communication, where it actually helps in nerves and message from the brain to the body, aid in releasing hormones and enzymes, also assist in making blood clots normal. So those are some of the functions of the calcium. But always remember, it makes your bones and the teeth to be strong so that you cannot have fractures of your bones. Is that okay, class?
Yes.
Now, the parathyroid glands. So there's one person who asked what's the difference between the thyroid gland and the parathyroid gland. We have already discussed about the thyroid gland. We now want to look at the parathyroid gland. Now, the parathyroid gland are four small spherical glands that are embedded in the posterior surface of the thyroid gland. I've already told you this, that the parathyroid gland, it is at the posterior side of the thyroid gland. The cell types, we have the we have the type, the chief cells, which are major cell type arranged in cords and clamps. Then we have the secretory parathyroid hormone. Then we have the parathyroid hormone, which is the PTH, which actually increases blood calcium level, primarily by increasing osteoclasm activities. So this is actually the thyroid gland. You are able to see the posterior view of the thyroid gland. So the parathyroid gland, it is actually located here. You are able to see it here, the parathyroid gland. Are you able to see the parathyroid gland at the posterior side of the thyroid gland? Yes, are you able to see it?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, so those are the parathyroid glands. So this is now the histology of the parathyroid gland. You're able to see the blood vessels within here, the connective tissue capsule of the parathyroid gland, and lastly, the thyroid follicles. They are here. Now we have these cells that actually call the oxophyte cells, which are large cells may appear slightly or in the clump, heterochromatic nucleus abundant in esophagus and esophagus due to numerous mitochondria, with no secretion granules and there is no non-function of them. So this is now the histology of parathyroid gland, which we call the chief cells. Able to see the oxophyte cells, which are here. Blood vessels are here, red blood cells, and also have the connective tissue capsule of the parathyroid gland. Now, that is all about the parathyroid gland. I think we can stop there. You go and internalize whatever we have done. Then we shall continue from there tomorrow. Is that okay?
Yes.
Is that
Yes.
okay? Okay,
Yes.
please can we go and look at the pituitary. Go and read the pituitary, the histology of the pituitary, thyroid gland. Then we have also looked at the parathyroid gland and the hypothalamus gland. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yeah, we will continue from there. Thank you. You are free to leave the class. Any class rep to send me for me the class attendance list.
You said you'll give us the books.
Excuse me, sir.